On this episode of Ansel Travel, we're heading out to San Diego Comic-Con. Started in 1970 as a simple comic book convention, a buying and selling comic book is now one of the most popular comic book conventions, or just, media, just the popular media in general, from comic books to video games to, and more. Pretty much now encompasses everything there, including Pokemon and Splatoon 2. So we're gonna go explore San Diego Comic-Con and get there by train and carpooling as well. Let's go explore San Diego Comic-Con here on Ansel Travel. From July 23rd to July 26, 2026 was the media mess that took over downtown San Diego with San Diego Comic-Con. Starting in 1970, the U.S. Grant Hotel in downtown San Diego was all about buying and selling comic books, and even had special guests there of comic book artists and authors there as well, with a few thousand attendees. It moved around to various hotels around downtown, then moved to the San Diego Convention Center when it opened in 1979. With a much simpler time where you can just walk up and buy a badge at the door. All that changed in the late 2000s with the rise of Marvel Comics Cinematic Universe, and then San Diego Comic-Con gaining popularity and attention with numbers over 100,000 fans. Then became gaining popularity in the online queuing system in 2018 with limited demand for badges to 135,000 total between 4 days plus the preview day, I think. So it's very limited, but still feels jam-packed. If you think San Diego Comic-Con was very packed, let's just say that Anime Expo has 422,000 attendees in total in 4 days. That was earlier back in 4th July. It was crazy packed, and people were complaining about it on social media everywhere. So, yeah. If you want to attend San Diego Comic-Con, make sure to attend smaller and medium-sized conventions first, such as WonderCon, that I also cover as well on my blog, which is kind of a bit smaller in scale, but has like plenty of exhibitors, artist alleys, panels, talks, and more. At San Diego Comic-Con, it's like Disneyland for the popular arts enthusiasts. There are lines and lines and lines and lines for everything, from exhibits to exclusive convention merchandise in the halls to program panels, but the biggest stars with the infamous Hall H that I tried to reckon with, but I didn't time everything properly. So you had to balance your time and pocketbooks with time and waiting, and also including buying a badge. If you wanted one of 135,000 badges that were sold through the 4 days of the show, you had to, including that Wednesday preview night, to get all 4 days, you have to try to get lucky, and you get pretty much randomly selected on there as well for buying a badge. So yeah, so for there, keep an eye out for the date for, I think it was like October, for returning badge holders like me, and then attendees as well, for new attendees and returning attendees who didn't get anything as well. And then also get access for room block rooms as well. So, which are not bad. It's like about 331,000 for, pretty much for downtown hotels, and then $220, for the Mission Valley ones, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. And also, what am I dressed as exactly there? Which Pokemon trainer am I dressed as? So, if you have seen like a few months ago, was the initial announcement for Pokemon Winds and Waves video game for Nintendo Switch 2 coming out next year. So for there, the trainer has like, well, I think it's pretty much mainly it's like a wetsuit under it, since it's like long sleeve, so it's like long black sleeve, and then also yellow shirt on top with a pocket, and then also blue hat for the variant, and then also so these are blue cycling gloves as well as to match the character for the Waves version. So, and then for this is actually just bought a blue hat and with the iron-on patch for the Pokeball, so people can actually think like, oh, I'm actually a Pokemon trainer. Did anyone ask for pictures of me and all? Well, they did for one of the other costumes. So, why do people cosplay? Well, cosplaying in general is pretty much showcasing people showing their love for a particular character or franchise in general. Especially for me, I love Pokemon, and it's especially one of my favorite video game franchises. And then especially, it's easy to cosplay as well. So especially just like most stuff is just like active wears, really that is nowadays. So it works perfectly well like this for the Pokemon Winds and Waves. Did anyone ask for a picture of me? No. And I'm going to look at me. Especially it was in the packed trolley. There were people who were Pokemon fans, and no one really particularly noticed at all. So I'm like, oh, I guess no one thought of it in the forefront of their minds, I guess, so whatever. And pretty much for there as well, it's people can get really impressive, pretty detailed for their cosplays, and it makes me like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of time working, and people invest into their costumes. It can get crazy sometimes, especially shown in the article, in the video that I got from the San Diego Tribune. It was crazy how people can get so much detail for their costumes. On July 22nd, I drove over from after work to the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center, or Arctic for short, and then took the train, took Amtrak Pacific Surfliner from Anaheim to Oceanside to go to my parents' house, in which my dad would pick me up. So for there, I can actually park overnight there for like up to 2 weeks from the city of Anaheim, as long as you sign up on a form on there that you are going to just park there as well, so marking it safe from security to make sure you're doing all the checks overnight. So when I got back, it was in one piece, so hooray. So it makes it so much easier because I got a good amount of stuff, and it makes it so hard trying to take it from not only on the train but also on the bus. So I'm kind of glad I kind of drove there, especially for that train I was taking was the Amtrak Pacific Surfliner 782 to Oceanside, where my dad will pick me up, and everything was on time for now. There were tons of Cardinals fans because the Angels game just ended just a while ago at the time, and then the Angels lost 0-1. And then the train arrived on time at 4:49 p.m. It would take roughly an hour to get to Oceanside for now. And then since it was a Goleta originated train from Goleta Santa Barbara to San Diego, it was packed with summer vacationers, Angel Cardinals fans, and Comic-Con attendees. I could not find an open seat until get to Irvine. In the meantime there, I just stood on the train like I was on the LA Metro. Oh wait, these have dots. Yep, the train car that I stopped at, got on, and then struggled to find a seat, had ads on it. And then, ironically, it was for the World Cup, just like for my last full video. But there as well, I pretty much stood up for like about a couple of stations, went from Santa Ana and then to Irvine, and then when I saw a couple of people got off, I dashed up and then found a seat. It had dots, but whatever. At least I got a spot. That's all that matters. Because when we got past to like right before we head down south to Dana Point and then go further down to San Clemente, we were stopped and had to wait and wait and wait because it one tracks to pretty much rest away to Oceanside. Yeah, we had to wait like nearly 40 minutes because there was like a lot of I think there was an incident in San Clemente at the time, so. At like one of the beaches, so kind of had to slow the trains down a bit and took like 40 minutes, so which was fine with me, but I had to let my parents know that was the case. When I was reading up on the news, I saw in there that finally that San Diego Comic-Con has agreed with City of San Diego to stay until 2023, and hopefully even longer. It comes with the usual stipulation of like 14,000 contracted room nights, at like $240 for Mission Valley rooms, $330 for downtown, and cannot exceed $700 for suites. Attendees and exhibitors, primarily if they're artist alleys, are leisure guests and artists coming on their own dime. You cannot price gouge them for $800 a night. We're looking at you, hotels that are not part of the Hope Group block. After additional 40 minutes, we continue down to Oceanside. And then my dad picked me up, and then we head out to dinner in Vista. Especially went to one of our favorite restaurant chains is Best Pizza and Brew. I recommend the hot honey pizza. It was delicious. The next day, I got up at 5 a.m. and got ready to head out with my dad to carpool down to San Diego. And then my dad and I headed out like 6:45 a.m. And then we headed down on Highway 78 and Interstate 5, and which would take about 45 minutes, or it'd take about roughly 2 hours by transit. Going down I-5, they had the paid express lanes that the SDMTS used for the 235 bus, which is actually free for carpools if you have a 2 or more on your fast track transponder, with selectable people counter, and verifies that yes, there are actually 2 people in there. And then after meandering around the highways, we eventually got to Hazard Center Shopping Center, where my dad dropped me off and he had off to work, and I took the trolley. I just missed the trolley because the light was red. And I should have gone. Yeah, welcome to Hazard Center. We're in Mission Valley area of San Diego. So we're going to San Diego Comic Con. Takes about 30-ish minutes to get to downtown from here. Well. Also I forgot to, didn't have time to validate my card. Oh well. Approximately 45 of the trolley fleet, especially the green and special event line, have tool racks. Yeah, so these ad wraps, especially the one that's passing by, is for the Crunchyroll for Demon Slayer. That one it does cost money, for a good amount of money, to get the, not only apply it, also it's like a brand the whole trolley as well. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, so Hazard Center is right next to the DoubleTree. So there is like shuttle services that go for Comic-Con. I think this is serviced by it, especially since we're right next to the trolley station. So for there, it is the El Cajon bound train has like ads for Amazon's audiobooks, and then my downtown train has the ad for the Sony's anime streaming site Crunchyroll. So for there, which has like 45 of their 117 trolley cars or had ad wraps this year, and also has like for the green and special event lines, which was on the green line there, going from Hazard Center to downtown to get to Convention Center. Of course, the trolley got more packed as we further continued down the line. Also, the ad dots make it so hard to film out of. Oh well. At 8:18 a.m., I just arrived at San Diego Convention Center. The doors won't fully open until halls until about 9:30 a.m., and most activities downtown won't open then anyways. Early arrivals like me go and file into the second story and the first people to the exhibit halls, but yeah, it was really busy. If you got your badge, you can get sent, if you didn't get one in the mail, or you forgot it, then you just get a new one for a $15 replacement fee. And along with the lanyard, since badges don't come with lanyards, and then the program book as well. I also can get online there as well for the exhibit hall maps, and also the Shed Schedule app for all the events as well. I eventually made it to end the line at 8:34 a.m. and now to wait an hour before the hall opens. And then later, it opened, and I'm going to get some of the prints that I want to get from the artists on the floor the first. So some larger exhibits had already hit their capacity too, so we'll see what we can do. My first stop was Ginkgo House by Josie Tazao, who makes these really great watercolor painting prints. Everyone, including me, was clamoring for the Seaside City print at the convention center at dusk. It was amazing, it looked so cool, and there was only 24 of them a day. Yeah, I missed out on it, and I was there 30 minutes early. Come on. Oh well, at least it got her LA Skyline piece instead, which was nice. Nintendo always has a presence at Comic-Con. With Pokemon Select Your Favorite Pokemon booth, was able to get also a preview of their Splatoon Raiders game as well. There were 20 Switch 2 consoles at the time, so the line got moving pretty quick. I got to demo the Splatoon Raiders game, and it took about 11 minutes. It was pretty cool, and especially after a few pointers from Nintendo staff, I started to take down the salmon. It was great, and everyone gets to play with Gizphone equaling swimming in their swimming form there too. If you want it more explainer about it, just let me know if you want it. As the time went on, the crowds got a lot more crowded. Lines got capped, so no one else can get in line, since it's just not safe there to really do so. But holy cow, it just got busy, and busier. So for there, especially if for a lot of artists I want to get, a lot of them have lines, so I decided to go to one that didn't have a line. Manga publisher Kodansha had a booth as well, selling merchandise from their Kodansha house pop-up that had in Los Angeles for Anime Expo earlier that month, and that will also have in New York as well. I got a poster that they were selling from the Kodansha house featuring Coco from the Witch Hat Atelier, a manga and anime series where humans can create magic spells with a special magic compound ink that you can use in a circle. Why Coco has a magic pen that she's flying with. Oh yeah, and also, if wondering about lines, yes, there are more lines there as well. There are lines for Starbucks. There's lines for pretty much all the food and beverage of the overpriced food. So I don't get coffee and stuff later, but I did get sandwich and Gatorade. So at least the line wasn't bad then, at least. The lines for Hall H were always meandering and are infamous for very long lengths, and especially for I just wanted to see the panel for Avatar and movie panel. It meanders around several times there, but I just want to see how well it works. But yeah, the lines for Hall H are so infamous. Con even made a t-shirt to make an achievement. Yeah, you know that's saying something. They made it as a t-shirt achievement, right? But 40 minutes later, we moved a good amount, but not even close to get to the hall. And especially with 40 minutes after the panel started, so pretty much it's all going to be done. But of course, as anything gets posted on there, it usually gets posted online. But it would be so cool to see everything in person, but oh well. Yeah, so especially there, I just didn't have time for any panels. Last year, I went to 3 panels, but this year, I just did not have time to go to panels. I just wanted to see so many things out and about, and especially only getting 1 day badge did not help my case either. Whatever. And then looking around some of the other artists that didn't really have any lines, I wanted to one of the downtown Comic-Con themed prints, but one of them I found was by Patrick Solon, featuring Spider-Man and trying to kiss Mary Jane, which is a pretty cool piece. So, how are things outside the convention? Let's see. I finally, when I got to the back, pretty much a lot of things were well scaled down. For some reason, well, Hulu and FX are pretty much scaled down to be a lot more small to just be in the gas lamp, not in the back, and especially there's no party boats. No party boats is interesting, especially there was one for IDBM, they don't have anymore, or Voodoo Ranger. Those were all the ones I had seen before, but not anymore. That's very odd. There was Nintendo Switch Sports, and there's the Rizzler. Yes, known for his Riz face back in 2023. The Rizzler is back with his dad playing bowling and trying to go against other fans as well. So he had a very, very interesting following there. People really took a liking to him there because he still has a good amount of people really cheer for him. It was very interesting, that's for sure. And one of the spaces that's on the base level that is right next door to where all this stuff was happening at the Hilton, we did a demo there as well of archery, bowling, water sports, and thumb wrestling. It was a pretty cool try. And also they give you a visor at the end of the demo. Next to the demo area is Hilton Starbucks. I got a coffee frappuccino and a pastry for midday refreshment. And also, the Starbucks has hired a window artist for Willy Wonka themed window art, which is pretty cool. Alright, so now we're on the Skyway. Overpass to go across over the train tracks to all the stuff in downtown, the gas lamp. Yeah, so it's Harbor Drive, which sucks because road traffic is blocked. I hope people know that it's blocked. And then I got the trolley yard. And there's the original trolley cars over there. So there's the Lexus Premier lot. All the stuff that Activision have over there. And then also, there is also for the big old ad for Avatar Aang. Imagine, because that's a Part 12 part building. Imagine living in those high rises and getting your view blocked. Across the trolley tracks at Petco Park for the Lexus Premium lot, and they had several activities there as well for the Active Zone, which has Magic Gathering, Maruchan, and a few other companies there, but it was all feel like a lot less this year than it was previous year, that's for sure. And of course, they don't allow outside food, unbottled outside food, so I had to throw away my Frappuccino. I was almost done. And you can see how much stuff people had to throw away because of that policy there too. Wasteful. At the gas lamp corner was the iconic sign was paid by Disney to be covered up for Avengers Doomsday, along with many ads and restaurant collaborations around the gas lamp area there as well by KAP Media. So, but at least the center lane is portioned off there as well for at least emergency access for vehicles. However, apparently the next day it was not actually approved by the City of San Diego. Slapped a huge fine on Doomsday Overlay and saying it was unpermitted structure, and that was essentially was over a public road right away. Sign violations of sign regulations that block signage for pedestrians, and the city did not allow any temporary signage for secondary signs for commercial areas. So $20,000 fine, and will continue with not taking it down. So it will just keep adding up to roughly $80,000 if it's the same amount. So, and then here's a quick rundown on some of the outside activities, such as Paramount Plus's Lodge, which had really insane long lines. Hulu's animation for adult humor shows, such as King of the Hill, had free food, but was really long lines. But I think they downscaled things because of D23. There was Percy Jackson Olympians, really long line for Peanuts pop-up store, and then also Hot Wheels had an activation outside with wrapping a Porsche 911 GT3R with Derpy Tiger from K-pop Demon Hunters, and which you can also buy in Convention Center for $30. And then also at the New Children's Museum, they had a Shark Week fountain there, and then Nickelodeon took over the outdoor area of the museum as well. It was pretty cool, and especially all that's being covered by the local news as well, such as ABC 7 and Fox 5 San Diego, which both found street parking there as well. They just need to remember to feed the meter. But I really liked Fox 5 because they had so much extended coverage of the convention, and it goes later into the day. It was pretty cool. I really loved it. And then headed over to the Marquis Hotel, the headquarters hotel for Comic-Con during the show, which hosts the volunteer and show office spaces, along with activation activities for several vendors, hospitality space for snacks and soda for attendees, and even event merchandise stalls. Then I headed back to the convention center, and I saw Cryptozoic Entertainment create a new Peanuts-themed card game called Many Faces Snoopy, based on the book of the same name. It's like Go Fish. They match up cards with similar personalities of Snoopy. They also had a neat statue of Snoopy on his doghouse to do photo op as well. At 5 p.m., I went to Z2 Comics booth, where Anaheim Ducks Wild Wing was there doing comic book signings. Well, actually, it's more a poster, but it looks pretty cool. Comic book. Please make this an actual comic book, please. But it was really cool. And before then, I got a wristband so I can actually get everything signed off there to get signed, and I got the poster. It was pretty cool. However, I had to wait like 30 minutes for the line to get uncapped because there's so many people who got in line earlier than I did. So the poster looked so cool. It was getting towards like 5:30 time, and I need to get going and take the 6:20 train back of NCTD coaster back to Oceanside. And with the full messenger pack, poster tubes, and poster art and giveaways, I took the coaster back to Oceanside with my dad picking me up. I was so exhausted. I don't know how people do Comic-Con for 4 days in a row, including preview nights. That's a lot of time and money, but it's like Disneyland for popular arts fans, and it could be for their could be annual vacations too, if they can get the badge. I took an NCTD coaster back to Oceanside with beautiful views of the sun going down, from seeing the water reflecting off of the Torrey Pines Nature Preserve water, and also the ocean as well, on the crumbling Del Mar bluffs that they're still trying to rebuild with Sandag. Yeah. Then arrived in Oceanside at 7:35 p.m. with a nice golden hour glow, and my dad took me back home, back to Vista. And I spent nearly 12 hours on the road that day and at the show. Oof. It was fun, it was a lot, but I loved it. I just wish I could get multiple days there, back-to-back days, but the only time I can really get was one day. It was like Thursday or Sunday. There was no in-between. They get back-to-back days. Oh well. The next day, I avidly watched Fox 5 San Diego coverage of San Diego Comic-Con on Friday. About 11 a.m., my mom and I met up my dad, and we went out to lunch at one of the restaurants nearby, which is Toasted, which is a gastro brunch restaurant. It was really good. I especially love their salmon toast. It was really good. Smoked salmon. And then after that, we walked along Oceanside Pier, which you can see everyone enjoying not being at San Diego Comic-Con, enjoying the beach. And then after that, took Metrolink back to Anaheim, and then drove back. It was tons of fun going to San Diego Comic-Con for another year, and I hope to get to go again next year there as well, and many years thereafterwards, just to see how things are year over year, for things changing for San Diego Comic-Con. Even just for a day, or hopefully 2 next year. We'll see. But I wish I could get more days, but hey, work just keeps calling me for the work on the weekends. And at least I went on Thursday. Yay! Thanks for watching here on Ansel Travel.